Whoa, whoa, whoa. If you were a sauce, I'm just kidding.
Ooh.
I would be ranch.
Yeah, what? You'd be ranch?
Ranch all day on everything in every kind of way. What do you mean?
If you were a sauce, you'd be ranch? This week's episode of the But How podcast is brought to you by the Arlington Shop, Arlington, Texas's only city merch shop. Find out more and become a part of the place where everyone fits at thearlingtonshop.com. Okay, welcome to the But How podcast, where we interview your favorite innovators, small business owners, leaders, and we ask them, for real, but how though? For real, how'd you do that? I'm Brittany Garcia-Dumas, BGD, on the mic with...
Nicky Knack, the Guez, if you will.
Today we are interviewing Mariell Guzman of where would you say you're from? Like, do you say Dallas, Texas, or do you say Mexico?
I say Mexico. Yeah.
Period.
I'm from, I was born in Michoacan and then grew up in Monterrey and then I moved to Dallas when I was like 10. So when I say where I'm from, I say always Mexico, but I think both Texas and Mexico have like become my home.
International
Period.
artist, international acclaim. Rattle off for us a little bit, like, who have you collabed with?
Well, in the last 6 years, I've been very lucky to have a lot of brands just kind of reach out and I guess find me in the depths of the internet. I'm not sure how they cross paths with my work, but I've worked with Pepsi, American Express, Samsung.
But those are big names, girl. Those are big.
Okay, hot questions. The first one I want to know is, do you believe in ghosts?
I love when people ask me this because I love to ask people this.
Really?
Yes, I do.
So you do.
Absolutely.
Of the new fonts on the Instagram stories, which one represents you?
There's one that's like, I guess, really bold and like thick, and but kind of funky feel to it. But like,
Hello, that's all of us in this room.
Yeah. New Instagram bio just dropped. Yeah.
Thick, funky. What else did you say?
Bold.
Period.
Thick, funky, and bold. That sounds like a barbecue sauce.
Whoa. If you were a sauce, I'm just kidding.
Ooh.
I would be ranch.
Yeah, what? You'd be ranch?
Ranch all day on everything in every kind of way. What do you mean?
If you were a sauce, you'd be ranch?
Yeah.
If you were a sauce, what would you be?
Oh, Valentina.
I could
Really?
see that.
Oh my God, yeah, Valentina.
So let's start at the beginning. Baby Mariel, who loves art. How did you kind of start taking your first couple of steps into the art world? Because the podcast is called But How Though. So we have lots of artists who they recognize they have this talent in art and they want to activate on it. They want to start making money. So tell me how you got into it and tell me about the first time you sold a piece of art.
Like I remember selling a painting when I was like in high school to a friend. Like he commissioned and it was like a pretty large canvas and I was like, oh, you can just pay me $100, which now I'm like, oh my God, that was like way too much work but just for me to know somebody wants my work and wants to pay me was like enough of like just a little sliver of hope, like, oh my God, maybe like I can do this. Yeah, and I think I was like 17.
So how did you get into, like, what were the first steps you took when you said, okay, I want to be a full-time artist. I really want to do this.
So I found out like I was going to pay for all my college. So then I kind of had this moment of like, wait, if I have to invest in myself, I'm going to invest in myself in something I really love, which obviously was art. And my mom like is an artist and like I've seen her also create like a living in a form of with like more interior decorating and kind of like faux painting, but she built her own business. I was just like, I mean, my mom has done it. Like, I want to follow in those footsteps. But they immediately were like, no, but that's not what we came here for.
Yeah.
But yeah, I was just kind of like, I had a teacher in high school who was an artist also, like would create jewelry, and then his wife was also an artist and professor. So like he was the first person who kind of told me like, oh no, you can do this. If you want a career in the arts, like it's possible, go for it. And I'm really thankful to him. So I kind of decided to just go to school for it. Which
Shout out to teachers everywhere for the things that they do, the professors.
honestly, yeah, Mr. Garrett. I ended up visiting him after I went to community college for 2 years, and then I was going to transfer to UT, or like apply to go to UT and UNT. And then I went to him for him to review my portfolio of like the work I've made, and for him to write me like a letter of recommendation. And he was like, I'm so happy that you're really doing it. Like, I'm so happy that I was able to like inspire you and to continue to pursue this.
I'd be crying in that moment. As you and as the teacher, it was just all ball together at what's about to happen.
So it sounds like the very first thing that you did was you decided, I'm going to do this. Why not try? Why not see what I can get away with? Yeah?
Yeah, which is honestly crazy at that age, that I was just like, I'm going to put all my cards into this.
Yeah. So tell us about the first couple of times that you were paid, big money to be an artist, to where you felt like, oh, I am like really
This is real.
doing this. And tell us about that, and tell us how you did that. Did you make connections? Were you sending emails? Were you conscious of, I don't know, what you were putting out into the world? Like, how did you get there, and how did it feel when it activated?
I guess my first big mural, where I made like a nice chunk of change, I was like, it was for this church in Fort Worth.
It's still up, right?
It is.
You can still go see it.
Movement?
Girl,
Yeah.
it's on 7th Street where all the bars are that you go to.
Whoa, relax.
That we go to together.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, I see it all the time.
Yeah.
Constantly. Yeah, it's
It's-
amazing.
It's been really cool to see over the years how many people do photo shoots there for like graduations or like pregnancy or just tourists. Like it's become kind of like a landmark.
Can you describe it for the listeners?
It's this giant, very colorful mural that it says Fort Worth, and it just kind of has a lot of Fort Worth themed elements, but in my own interpretation, which is very funky and playful. I just kind of wanted to bring joy to Fort Worth and make them proud of their city and the creative community that it has, and like that they need to invest more in it, which I think has definitely happened. Like I saw, not saying because of me, but I've just seen a lot more murals being in demand in the last like 4 years, especially during the pandemic. Like I painted that during the pandemic,
Really?
and which is crazy because I remember like losing all my gigs, and that's when I was just starting to get some like big murals, and then all of it just was like never mind. So then I thought I was like my career was over. I mean, everybody thought everything was over.
Right. The world at large, honestly.
Exactly. Yeah. But then that mural like happened, that opportunity, because I went to a year before I went to this market that I was invited to that was called Her Market in Fort Worth.
Can I pause you there?
Yeah.
I was going to tell you when we walked in, I actually have a print from you that I purchased at that market in the Foundry District, right? Inspiration Alley. Yeah. I
God.
met you briefly, but yeah, you sold me a print.
Oh my God.
I still have it.
That was like little baby me just doing markets and trying to make earrings. And I was just like, okay, I'm just going to make everything I can and see what works and what people want. And I met this girl there, and then she goes to that church, and then she recommended me to the pastor. And that's how they got connected with me. But I remember like walking in to that room in that meeting and by myself and just being in a room. Like it was like, I think 3 or 4 men. And then I had to just be like, here's how much it's going to cost if you want this.
Yeah.
And like having to just be like not doubt myself and stand my ground. But also I completely forgot about this until now. They originally wanted only like these 3 small parts of the mural painted. And I don't even know how, but somehow I just kind of sold them on painting the whole wall.
Period. That's how you do it, girl. That is how you do it.
Because I was like, why not make a big impact? If you're already investing in this, like, you have this prime location. And then I sold them on it. And then I was like, and then here's how much it's going to cost. And they were like, okay. And that was the craziest feeling. And I remember being like, oh my God, I can do this.
Yeah.
Like, people will pay me what I ask or what I feel is my worth. And I don't have to, like,
Talk about validation right there.
Yeah. So what was going through your head in that moment of, I'm going to pitch a bigger project and I'm going to quote this price? Like, what were you telling yourself in that moment?
I remember just first with the original vision, I like even created some designs and stuff. And I think both of us felt like it just was missing something. Like it just wasn't bold enough. And I remember just probably thinking like, I mean, because my first mural I ever painted before that was like a huge mural as well. That one was, it wasn't like the biggest paycheck, but it was like my first opportunity to be able to show what I can do and introduce myself into the mural scene. And so I already knew that I could paint something big and I wasn't scared of that anymore. So I think I was still running on this like just so much ambition and just really wanting to prove that I can be an artist. And I know there's a lot of layers to that, which is like seeking validation. But like I think in the mural world, it's so male dominant. It's definitely gotten a lot better. But back then there just wasn't that many women muralists. So I knew that if I wanted to make a mark and be taken seriously, in my brain, I'm like, you have to keep going big and bold. Because even though I'm like, you're like a 5'1" little Latina, like it's like, oh no, I'm not scared. Like, give me the biggest wall.
Dude, I'm about to cry right now.
I know, right? I'm literally like, you have so much wisdom that you don't even realize is inspiring. Like, I'm taking mental notes. I'm taking actual physical notes. I'm like, what piece of this recording can I say for later? Like, I'm truly being honest with you right now. Like, what you have to say is important, and your lessons are important to give to people. And you were talking about being a little scared of public speaking or whatever, and you're growing into that. The biggest thing that I would have to say is bring your authentic self and your true stories and whatever that means to you, and it will grow your confidence exponentially. I know that you are truly yourself, but never try to fit what you think people want to hear or what public speaking should sound like. It sounds like Mariel, and that's it. You know what I mean? And when you bring your authentic self, people respect that. People are inspired by that, and it will grow your confidence like you wouldn't even believe.
Yeah. Yeah, and talk about other women speaking your name in rooms of opportunity. You know, that woman that you met and going to talk to that church. And because I think we've all been there where we have to be the one in the meeting standing up for the other woman, or we have to be the one in the meeting who says, well, what about Mariell Guzman? Or what about the Guez? You know, like, you have to advocate not only for yourself, but for other women. And like you said, like, in a big, bold way, like, unless we just like bang on this door, you know, nothing's going to change. And it sounds like women have done that for you, and that now you're doing that for other women. This week's episode of the But How podcast is brought to you by BGD Digital Marketing, amplifying voices through business branding. Find out more at bgddigitalmarketing.com. one of the things that I think is really interesting about you and what I've learned about the art world is the collaborations that you do and the other artists that you work with on different projects. Talk a little bit about that. Like, how is that collaboration? Like, I know you work with Alec and you've worked with the other Mariel and you work with, I know Katie Paintbrush is big in Fort Worth. Like, talk about those kinds of collaborations. How have those gone? What have you learned from that?
Community has been very important for me through this journey, because being an artist can be a very lonely existence. You're coming up with these ideas and you're like kind of living in your head a lot, and then trying to like figure out how to manifest it into the world. And it's so important to learn about other people's experiences and how they're kind of working through all these problems, and you can give each other advice. I think with I've realized that because I'm an immigrant and always lived far from family, and like I feel like in Latino culture, like family is like your community, and it's where a lot of that support comes from. So I kind of just have always wanted to find my community here, because I was like, well, I have to make it. I have to create my own family here and community, and I'm going to do whatever it takes and to put myself out there, and then also find those who are also looking for it, and knowing that like we can now do it together. And I feel like in the art world, I know in most fields, but in the art world, it can be really hard to find genuine kind of friendships where you support each other no matter what you like each kind of achieve, or you don't expect, it's not like a transactional relationship, and you're not looking to get anything out of being their friend. It's more like knowing that there's people in the world that even if you stop making art and you never make art again, they will still love you and want to be in your life because they just like value you as a human, is so important.
Yeah.
And I feel like Alec and Mari have definitely been two of those people in my career so far. Like we know like, hey, no, we're going to be like, and celebrate each other's accomplishments. Not even just art related. Like Alec just had a baby, and it's just been like so beautiful to now see him like tackle that new chapter of his life and celebrate him for like how much he's already been giving to this new little human. And I'm like, this is like your greatest art piece, Alec. And he's like, I know.
I love that.
Yeah.
So you talked about, we're really big on giving other people, other leaders, innovators, small business owners, artists, kind of a roadmap of this is how I did it. This is how I gained the success that I've gained. So you talked about, number one was just like believing in yourself and being like, well, I'm going to go all in. I'm going to push all my chips in and I'm going to believe in myself. You've worked with other artists, collaborated with different things. You did markets. You were like, I'm just going to keep making all of these things and see how it goes. You advocated for yourself, in really big moments of big projects. When did you feel like I've made it? I've achieved a level of success that I've never achieved before. And I mentioned before, seeing you in Times Square, like Mariell Guzman in Times Square, seeing you at the Rangers ballpark, like I am just like so proud. Like my heart just like swells so much because, I know who you are, and I know I've seen what it's taken to get to there. Like nobody becomes a success overnight. Like that's so just not true. But so talk about, Times Square and these big collabs. Like at what point did you feel like, okay, I've made it, or I've achieved some success that I didn't even envision I could ever achieve before?
That's a really big question. And it's especially because this is actually what I've been trying to sit with in this past year, and kind of really changed my perspective on what is success. Since like last year, I achieved whenever I finished my Meow Wolf installation, which was the biggest project of my career so far in terms of level of production, having to hire over like 10 people to like work in a studio with me and be like, okay, we're making these sculptures that don't make any sense to you or to me, but and they just trust in the vision and they're just happy to be there and like create this with me. And then even just finishing this room and then realizing that like I didn't feel what I thought I would feel. Again, it's like I'm climbing this mountain and I'm achieving all these things, but I don't even really feel that. I didn't really celebrate myself. Like it just wasn't enough. And I just like, what's next? And then now Meow Wolf being one of my dreams. And then like, I didn't think I would even get that. Or like, if I did, it would be like 10 years from now. But then it just happened this early in my career. And I was like, oh no, I'm not ready. Like this is too soon. But then being like, well, you just have to do it. Like believe in yourself. So yeah, all of that, it kind of led me to on this like spiral of like, I don't know what it's going to take for me to feel like I made it, because clearly this isn't working. Like something is missing. And I realized like this year, I started like I realized I was just in a really horrible burnout. That was definitely a big part of this. So starting off the year, like almost doing nothing and not taking any work, because I was like, I'm not ready. Like I don't have anything to give. And then I just started just going on these like long walks, because I really suck at sitting still. So I was like, I need to feel like I'm doing productive. So I was like, then I'm going to go on long walks. And I started going on like 3-hour walks. Oh my God. And I just couldn't stop walking. My roommates were like, where are you? And I'm like, I don't know. I'm like an hour and a half away. But these walks like really helped me like to process things and like it just kind of like understand what was going on. And then realizing it was like one of the walks, it was during the spring, because I missed last spring and that's my favorite season. And I was inside the mall doing Meow Wolf all of spring. And there was like no windows. I was just in this cave and I was so sad that I like missed all the blooms. So I was like, okay, I'm making up for it. So I'm going to go. And then I just seeing all these flowers like come out and like change like every week on my walk. And I remember just feeling like, oh my God, like I have the freedom to do this. Like I can set my schedule and I can make time to just go hang out with the flowers and look at them and like feel this like childlike, like, ooh, like what's that one? And that I feel like that I'm starting to realize like that's when I was like, I made it. Like I have the freedom to just not feel like I need to be stuck in an office and miss out on spring and stuff. So
you're the boss.
That is so. This whole video is just gonna be me crying at like everything Mariel says, but. You know, everybody expects, and even the answer I expected, I need to hold on. Even I expected, okay, when do you feel like you made it? Oh, when I made my first million, or oh, when I did Meow Wolf, or when I blah, blah, blah. Mariel's literally saying, when I felt like I made it is when I realized I could go outside and look at the flowers for 3 hours and be recharged by that. Like when I felt like I made it is when I felt freedom. Like that is so powerful. And I think that so many innovators, small business owners, leaders, they do have this certain goal in mind where they think, okay, when I get here, I'm going to think that I've made it. I will have made it. And there are so many people, just like you said, that they get there and they're like, oh, this is not at all what I wanted it to be. And if we have the opportunity to almost save people from that moment of not setting that as the goal, but maybe freedom is the goal, or, you know, time with family or whatever, you know, just recognize like people who look like they've made it, they're all saying The goal is freedom. The goal is like whatever personally fulfills you and makes you happy, like that truly fills you more. Like that's huge. Because I know like growing up or like when we were in college, it was like, you got to hustle, you got to blah, blah, blah all the time. And it's just like all of the professionals that have come out of that time are saying literally no.
Yeah.
Absolutely not. So you're only 30 and you've learned all of this stuff. You've had a really great career. It's so far. There's a million other things that you are going to do in your life. But what talking to the younger artist, the 19-year-old artist, the 25-year-old artist, or even somebody who's 60 and wants to get into art professionally, what would you tell another artist who's like just starting out, who wants to make a career out of it? What kind of advice or steps would you give them to start off their career?
What really just kind of has carried me through this whole career has been knowing that like this is like I'm lucky that I've been able to really know what kind of work I want to make since I was young. Like I remember my first abstract painting I made. I was like, I think 15 or 14, and I found this really like weird, like big, kind of thick cardboard thing my mom had in the garage. So I think she used for one of her samples of some of the paintings she did. And then I was like, hey, can I paint on this? And she was like, sure. Like it looks like garbage, but okay. And then I just went outside and then I kind of put all these paints around me and then I just started painting with no plan, which I hadn't really done that type of process before. And I remember just painting for like 4 hours and then like not even like it was like a trance. And I remember finishing and I was like, whoa, like what happened? And then just being like amazed by like all these details. And my mom was like, whoa, did you just make that? I was like, yeah. And she's like, what is it? And I was like, I don't know. But just feeling like, oh my God, that was such a powerful experience. And I want to do that all the time. Like there's something here. And now with spirituality, I'm realizing like, oh, that was like a spiritual experience. And humans get to have that if they want to, like, and it can be through writing, it can be through dancing, cooking. But anyway, so just kind of really knowing what kind of work you want to make, and that makes you feel that way, like you're really connecting to something bigger than yourself. No matter what, people will just like be able to feel that power in your work, and it's just they're gonna be pulled by it, and then they're gonna seek it out. And that's what's happened for me, like just being able to be very authentic of like what kind of stuff I want to manifest into the world. I think I'm always telling people like don't like look at what's trending and stuff. Like I mean, yeah, if you want to just make quick money, but then at the end of the day, like if you made something that's trendy, that person's probably only looking for work that is going to match their living room at this phase of their lives. And then once there's a new trend, they're going to probably throw it away because it's not trendy anymore. So you want to make work that just stands on its own, and it's like its own like statement piece in somebody's home. And it's like a portal into this whole other world that they want to escape to. I don't even know if I'm making sense. I feel like
no, that's great. I mean, like take an assessment of what is your thing. Like when do you get just lost as an artist, like doing something, and then just believe in yourself, go fully forward with that. Okay, so if you had to pick like one business thing you've done, like a connection you made or like a program or something, like you're like, okay, this was actually like pretty helpful for me to achieve the greater goal, which is finding my thing and like having freedom. What was one of those things for you as a creative?
I feel like the only thing that I've done that was like a smart
give yourself more credit than that.
No, I mean like a strategic thing to improve the business side of my career, so I can just focus on the creative, because that's really all I want. I'm like, I don't want to be the one who's negotiating. I don't want to be the one writing the contract. I just want to play. And so for me has been getting a manager.
Ooh.
Yeah, but I went through like a few that I kind of tried out until I started working with the one I have now, and I've been working with for like 3 years. But it's kind of like a non-exclusive, so I can bring him on to like any project I want, and then I don't have to on some others if I want to just handle it myself. So if it's like big brands and stuff, I usually bring him onto those because he knows he's like from New York and he's queer and he's like a male. So, and he's Caucasian. So it's like he already has that like presence where like he's just going to be more respected in most like business settings.
Yeah.
But he has this like New York attitude and just like he doesn't take any shit and like he really defends artists in such a passionate way. And he's helped me so much with like really believing in my worth and being like, oh, you want to charge that? Absolutely not. You're going to charge this. And I'm like, there's no way they're going to say yes. And he's like, no, you start there and then they go negotiate down. And besides helping me understand all the business side, he's become like a really close friend of mine. And I learned that you can have like this business relationship with somebody who's there to like help and protect you, but not just because he sees you as a product. He's like always been like a big advocate of like mental health. So he's always like, if you're not okay, the work you make is not going to be anything you're proud of. So no, cancel all the meetings. Like I'll take care of this. And he really helped me start my journey of like seeing myself as like a human and not just like this like art robot.
A product, yeah.
Exactly. So yeah, if you can find like a manager, I definitely encourage it because it helps. It gives me so much freedom of my time to like a client can't even talk to me until the contracts are signed. Deposit sent, and then they're like, okay, now I come in and I'm like, okay, let's talk about the art now. And it's like, oh my God, all this space in my brain is just now more liberated.
Right. And you're able to create better and have a more fun time. I think that's such a good word. I mean, delegating is a huge thing across any business ever. Like find the thing you don't want to do and outsource it somehow, you know?
Yeah.
Absolutely.
It's hard though.
It is hard to let go. Yeah.
Yeah.
Absolutely. But it pays off, is what you're saying.
Yeah. I realized. But it was really hard for me at the beginning. Like, he even would be like, Mariel, you need to let go of, like, I handle this. Like, that's why you're hiring me. And I'm like, right. But I was so used to doing it all by myself and being like, but no. But I know, but this is what works. It's like, no, it's going to change with every client. You need to just let somebody else who's been in the business, like, for 20 years.
It's almost like, it's sounding like a babysitter. Like, I have this thing that I love, my baby.
Yeah.
And you find someone that you trust that's going to keep your baby alive and feed it and help you thrive with that baby just for a bit. And then you get it back, you know?
No, yeah. For sure.
So it's just finding the people that you trust and believe in and respect who reciprocate that energy to help move you forward. And again, things that you don't like to do or things that you are not good at, frankly. So, yeah.
So every week we lay out our big butts of the week. It's an award we give to someone, something, an idea, a person, place, thing, idea of the week. Nouns. And we give them all awards, our big butt of the week. All right, do you know yours?
Yeah, but you have the mic. Good.
Okay, my big butt of the week goes to the 65% of Olympians who were all women who brought home gold medals in the Olympics. And I love how in the Olympics they talked about it, like numerically, they had the same amount of women or like 50-50. But this idea, like they kept using that like word of like really quantifying it because along with like the child care that they brought, like the nursery and things like that they had at the Olympics, it's like, okay, but all these women, like they still have to do even more in order to get here because they're women. So it's still not equal. It's still not like, it requires the same amount of energy from the female Olympians and the male Olympians, which I thought was really great to make sure we were very specific on. But yeah, and the biggest butt of the week is absolutely my 100% love of my life, Sha'Carri Richardson. I will literally watch videos of her, Quez knows this, like crossing the finish line and just cry. Like it'll just be me, like in my office, just like watching Sha'Carri Richardson like cross the finish line, and I'm just like bawling because it's so inspirational. Oh my God, she's amazing. Do you know Sha'Carri Richardson? No, it's okay. She's a track athlete.
Oh, I've been bad at keeping up with the Olympics.
Oh my gosh, she's from Dallas.
Oh wow.
Yeah, she's amazing.
Wait. Okay. Yes.
Yes.
Now I know.
She's
Now
the one
it
who has
clicks.
like the really long nails.
Yes.
And was disqualified a couple years ago, and she came back and said, "I'm not back. I'm better." But yeah, the women Olympians get my big butt of the week.
Period.
What about you, Quez?
Hey, girl. My big butt of the week is DVF, Dion von Furstenberg. She's a designer. The wrap dress. Anyone from the 70s? Yes.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. So she has they just came out with a documentary on Hulu about her, and I've loved her from her design since like high school, since I found out about her from reading fashion magazines in high school or whatever. But just hearing more about her story was like so amazing, so inspiring. She pretty much coined the wrap dress in the 70s. That's like what she's most famous for. But she's gone through so many struggles, and throughout her life, just being a woman, entrepreneur, fashion designer, and just everything that she's gone through. I think she had cancer recently. She's pretty much doing like her business her own way, and like doing her life her own way. She was like, they were talking about her personal life and how she was just like, I fall in love with everyone. I fall in love with whoever I want. She had like women, she had men, she had like her children. She was just like, I'm living life for me and how I want to do it. And that's what makes me happy. And I was like, period. That's how you have to live. Like, this life is for you. It's for nobody else. And you have to answer to nobody else. So you're the one who has to answer to your decisions. And you want to be able to defend them with your whole heart of, yeah, I did it. And what? I did it for love, for joy, for life. Like, this life is short. So just do it. And that's like the main thing that I got from her is like, stand by what you love, do how you want to do it. And she's wildly successful from that. And I was like, yes, go you, girl. So if you want to see it, it's on Hulu. And yeah, I enjoyed it.
Oh my God. Yeah. I'm gonna watch that tonight.
Mariel, what's your big butt of the week?
In this like past week, first of all, I have a friend of mine that, okay, I got this. She was a really good friend of mine, and she passed away. And her, I guess, anniversary of her passing is coming up next week. I think you actually knew her, Amy Cardozo. And I feel like I've been just kind of feeling her presence a lot more in this recent week. And last Friday, there was a show at her church with a lot of her work. They just filled his room with a lot of her paintings. And it was a really intense experience to just kind of be in the presence of all this work that she's created, and like obviously still carries her presence and very magnetic energy. And today, before this, I went to take this class that like included like a meditation and like tarot reading, because I've been trying to figure out ways to help me before doing things like this that make me really nervous. It's like how to calm myself, my anxiety, and meditation has been very, very helpful for me in this past year. And this meditation was probably one of the most intense ones I've had, where like there's a lot of breath work involved, and I felt this like very intense sense of peace. And it's usually hard for me to like really get to that level. My brain is kind of all over the place. But I remember during it just feeling this like a lot of warmth, and then also like seeing just like this bright, bold orange in my vision, I guess. and being like, oh, that's weird, because I usually, like, if I'm trying to picture a color, when somebody tells me, like, in the meditation, like, picture this color, I usually, like, blue or green are the ones usually, like, or purple pop up, but I've never had, like, this bright orange, like, take over my entire mind. And I was like, okay, that's different. And then after that, we did, there was, like, a chance to do, like, tarot, and then, like, oracle card. It was kind of like asking whatever you wanted. And I asked about, I was like, okay, what do I like some guidance for this podcast that I'm going to go to, like advice to like give me confidence and make me really just believe in whatever is going to like come out of my mouth. And one of the cards was basically all about a love, like a past. This was like the oracle one. It was about like a past loved one being here with you.
Wow.
Yeah, I was like, oh, okay. And it was like talking about like if you've had somebody in your mind lately that's like recently passed, like, and you've been wanting to connect with them, like they're here with you and like they're here to support you. And I was like, okay. And I was like kind of trying to sit with it. And this one girl who I just met there, like just was like, hey, I just want to, can you tell me what card you got again? And I was like, sure. And she was just like, I want to like help you with this. Cause I feel like what it's just like, what this is telling me, it's like, I don't know, maybe like somebody like a woman or something that's like, they're like, you're scared about going to this podcast, but like, you're not alone. And like, they're here with you. And I was just like, okay, yeah, no.
Hey, girl. You're here with us.
I know. Oh my god.
No, yeah, it was like, and I was like, okay, wow, that's, and I kind of shared with them, and I usually struggle to open up about that with strangers, but I was just felt, her reaching out and being like, hey, I feel like I was like, okay, I'm gonna open up, and then they're all like, oh my god, like, especially if you've been feeling her presence, like this is a sign, like it's just kind of letting you know, like, hey, you got this, because like she was one of like the most confident people I've ever met. Like her presence was so like she just gave you so much energy, and she really, really made you always believe in yourself. Like, and it's like when I was saying like it's hard to find friends in the art world where like you have that genuine connection. They really care and they really see you for who you are besides the art you make. And she was that for me. And so I remember like on the way here, like I was thinking about her, and I was like, okay, I see this, like you're here, and like I could really use like a little sprinkle of your confidence that you always gave me, like to go and like share my story and stuff. And then it kind of clicked with me, like that color orange, because that's her favorite color.
Wow.
And me and Alec always talk about it, and like Shayna. And so then I started learning after her passing, and I just started getting into like spirituality. I like was trying to make sense because I never lost somebody just unexpectedly like that. That just didn't make sense. And I was like, okay, well, I believe that they're around. So how does this work? And then I read this book. It was about asking for signs. Oh, so sorry, this is going too early.
No, this is great.
Okay.
I'm living.
Okay. It's like kind of just how to ask for signs from people who've passed, and it turns out it was like a lot more simple. I thought it was like some crazy thing you have to do, and then learning like, oh no, you just have to ask, and like because they're here, like they're with you, so just ask for, and like you can be specific if you want, and like you can be like, oh, a blue cockroach, I don't know. But like I like to sometimes do very specific weird ones. But this time I was just like, okay, well, you already gave me the like big like wave of orange during that meditation. So I was like, okay, just so I know that you're here with me during this podcast, like send me something like orange, like in the building, like when I walk in. And I'm just like, okay. And then so as soon as I was walking, I was like looking around everywhere. And then whenever you were like, oh, let me show you my office. And I was like, okay. And then you did. And you had your giant, is it a Stanley? Your giant Stanley. And it was like bright orange. And I was like, And that was like the one thing that stood out to me in the office. And then, but you also had your little night table that was like bright orange too. And I was like, okay, I got this. Like, and I know it's so silly and stuff,
It's
but
not silly.
okay. But I'm just realizing I keep hitting the microphone, just like trying to fight it. So I think, yeah, it's just, I guess that's my, what did you say it's called?
Well, it sounds stupid now, but
No, it doesn't. I'm trying not to cry.
the big butt of the week.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's,
Shout
for
out to
Amy.
Amy for being our fourth person on the
Yeah.
podcast today.
Exactly.
And thank you for allowing us to like bring in her presence and think about her. And, you know, it just, I did know Amy, you didn't know Amy, but just a moment to like meditate on like, oh yeah, she did have this like crazy confidence, just so courageous. And just like her, just like looking at her, you know, like you could see it.
Yeah.
So yeah, shout out to our fourth podcast member this week.
4 girls, 2 mics.
4 girls, 2 mics.
Period.
Yeah. I feel like we're both sharing this mic together.
Yeah, that's
Love
great.
it.
All the 4 of us, yeah. Well, Mariel, thank you so much for coming on the But How podcast. This is just yet again so much bigger than we even like think it's ever gonna be. Would you say screaming, crying, throwing up?
Period,
Like
yeah.
we cry, we laugh, we cry. Everything is inspirational to me. I know it'll be inspirational to the people who hear it.
Mm-hmm.
Thank you for being who you are. Thank you for doing what you do. Thank you for, you know, saying, hey, I'm going to do this. I'm going to bet on myself. I'm going to give it my all, and letting this podcast be a part of that. So,
Oh my gosh, it's
Thank
an
you so
honor.
much.
Thank you for believing in me all these years and always being like my cheerleader who's just like, you got this. Because, yeah, like you have no idea how much every message you've sent me or every time I've seen you and you just kind of remind me of my power. Like, it's like really helped me.
Yes.
we're just going to sit here and cry all day.
Yeah, right.
All right. Awesome. Thank you so much, Mariel. You want to sign off?
Bye.